that's just something I will avoid. Anyways, we are now live. Where's our avatar models? There it is, popping in. Yay! Welcome
Good
back,
evening,
everybody.
everyone. Morning, afternoon, or wherever you are.
Hello, hello.
Greetings to all the Indian viewers tuning in as well. If they do catch this stream over here on YouTube, because yeah, unfortunately, yeah, we're still gonna maintain us streaming over here over at instead of over Twitch due to unsure. I'm just being unsure with how that platform is gonna handle itself for its future. So I just took the proactive choice of just getting out of there while I still can.
While you still can.
Yeah.
They're gonna hold you hostage.
Oh, if anything, I
He's
wasn't even
about
that.
about to.
Oh, wait. But yeah, outside of that point, everybody that kind of knows what's going on over there, you can honestly look up like the multiple videos that I've talked about the Twitch dramas here and there too. A lot of them kind of encapsulates why I kind of want to leave it. Nothing, anything in particular too, but just straight up the drama part of it is like kind of getting me a little bit worrisome because this is affecting advertisers. Even though I don't get advertised here, man, I really do want the sponsorship money. But until we get bigger enough, I can't say much more, right? Anyways,
Yes.
so let's go ahead with tonight's topic of it's gonna be both part of us like updating news and a small movie review for K-pop Demon Hunters. But I guess I'll leave it to you, Victor. Which one do you want to speak on first?
Well, we can probably speak on the game news first.
Right. Yeah, because that fucking internet was on fire just throughout the last week alone. And I'm apologize too that we didn't stream earlier, but we did have a friend that demanded our presence to eat at Japanese barbecue, so we had to pause the stream then. But in this case, the timeline of events is lots of things happened within 2 weeks. And oh boy, where do we start from there?
Let's see. Probably the biggest one.
Yeah, so Michael, did you hear about, in this case, the things that is happening with Steam and itch.io?
No, I did not.
So, to catch you up to speed too, both Steam and itch.io did a full campaign where they have effectively decided to remove a lot of adult content from their platforms. I don't really want to say it out, or else this will get like flagged by YouTube's monetization or just straight up like censorship stuff too. But it's a lot of like adult themed games that also were like AI slop games or shovelware games too, even those that can be considered illegal, like incest, CSAM, and other stuff. So,
CSAM.
I'll tell you what that is a little bit later. But let's just say right now it involves like minors. If you can, so going from there, there was a lot of times too where they did a removal of the campaign. Now that itself wasn't really that bad of an issue to like, let's just say a normal everyday person like us too, because let's be honest, a lot of times when we go on Steam, we're kind of tired of seeing it like effectively porn games that are just flat out just on the storefronts here and there, especially either new and trendy, popular, upcoming, or whatnot. So most of the time, it's not really that big of a loss too. But what ended up happening too was that there was a lot of like other games that did get censored for no reasons, especially for itch.io, where they have just de-indexed a lot of like adult games effectively. It didn't even matter if they did have any illegal content or not. It was just straight up like scorch earth, just take everything off of there. Anything that was considered explicit. Now, a lot of this came about too when Steam updated their developer TOS. I think it's called rule number 15, where as an addition to other rules that you have to follow, Steam holds the right to, in this case, take your game off the store platform if it may offend like payment processing. Their payment processors. It may offend them. So we're not entirely sure what that exactly means too, and a lot of people were like digging up, trying to figure out clarifications on that. Turns out too, both Steam and itch.io were being pressured by Visa and MasterCard to deal and address these situations. Albeit, I don't think they wanted it to be like mentioned at all. They kind of just hopefully they would do it without like putting up a fight or fuss about it, or they would not make any announcements. Like things would just get removed and nobody would know why it happened. Fortunately for a lot of us too, anytime Steam does make a change too, a lot of those changes are uploaded online too, and a lot of people tend to love reading a lot of these update page. I swear, these people do not actually go outside, and they genuinely terrify me. But because of them, we figured out that in this case, the extent that like they were effectively going scorched earth on a lot of content. Now, to put this clear, we are not mad at Steam removing adult themed games, all right? Because let's be honest, that is completely up to them if they want to keep it or not to. And let's be honest too, to everybody else, a lot of these games were being problematic, especially if they were considered shovelware games.
Absolutely.
For those that don't know, shovelware just effectively just means what it sounds, where it's just like lots of things are being shoveled into the Steam page with disregard of actual intent, quality, and other stuff. They just want to be able to get impressions and possibly make a quick buck off of you from just shitty games in general. So that isn't what was the issue about it. The issue was the fact is that these payment processing companies were exercising a type of power that obviously was beginning to look like an antitrust issue here. That it gave a lot of people a lot of concern. So, why did all of this start? Is the other thing too. We found out from a lot of people doing some digging. There is a activist group in Australia called Collective Shout. They are, in this case, a bunch of, you know what? With the lack of better term, they're a bunch of Karens. That is the best way to describe them. A bunch of Karens that their goal and mission is to effectively just sanitize the entire media space so that it is safe for quote-unquote kids, right? One of the examples that Collective Shout has done is that in Australia, they managed to convince, or I will just say harass target upper-ups in Australia to remove GTA 5 from their storefronts because in their evidence, they claim that GTA 5 only promotes sexually assaulting and violence towards women in the game, and you get rewarded for that. Now, for those that have played GTA 5, we all know that's a load of horseshit. But nonetheless, they were able to achieve what they did, and with that, they were now trying to put their eyes on the target of Steam now. And what they did is that they didn't just go to Steam directly to do this, they went above them and just started emailing to these payment processing companies to say, hey, these company here may be doing some illegal activities. Maybe you should go look into that kind of stuff. And next thing you know, it kind of leads into this, and it kind of forces payment processors to effectively have to like put down the hammer on certain content. So this is where we're currently at as these line of events happen. Now for you, Michael, in your opinion, do payment processors, should they have the power to exercise this level of moderation content just because they process the payment for these platforms?
No, that sounds really sketchy, to be honest.
In what way do you find that sketchy? Because there's a lot of different like reasonings for this too,
Well,
that people
because they kind of control the money. So now if they can control money, then they can kind of have a larger influence over everything. Especially if they're going to be putting their foot down and being like, oh no, we're not going to endorse this use of like, I don't know. It seems a little strange to me.
I mean, we already see examples that payment processors have been kind of doing this type of practice too. For most obvious example, the way how marijuana is kind of treated too. You cannot purchase like THC or CBD based product. At least, actually, I take it back. CBD is kind of accepted, although it depends on the state you go to. But in a lot of states too, you cannot use your debit card or credit card to pay for like stuff at like dispensaries, marijuana dispensaries, in a lot of places. just because they just will not honor transactions from that too, because they don't believe in stuff like that too. Which is okay, whatever, right?
Is it that they don't believe in it, or is it
They
illegal in that state?
It is not illegal in that state because the dispensaries themselves, usually if you see the like a weed dispensary, they are only ever shown in states that have legalized weed in those states. But payment
Hmm.
processors will not actually like accept any payments except or any transactions to like these dispensaries. So a lot of times for none other reasons I did not condone to doing this, okay? I was merely trying it out, and the only way how I could actually feasibly buy a product is by taking money out from in a nearby ATM machine. Just because cash tends to work better this way. I didn't say I do it, but that
Okay.
was what they told me.
Okay. Here's actually something I just quickly looked up. They follow federal law, not state law. So if the state allows it, but the Fed on a federal level is still illegal, then they won't do it.
Gotcha. So there, pretty much it goes right there. So if anything, that would probably be the best way to like how in a lot of payment processors they have to stop making transactions just because it is actually against the law to do so. There's that. So, what this ends up happening is the fact that, okay, so you want to, in this case, censor or in this case, will not pay the or promise to process any payments just because they have porn games or adult themed games. Okay, then in this case, the person reasonably asks, what do you classify as like adult themed then too? Is it just straight up like whatever is against the law too? Because if that's the case, then too, we have no issues with that. The biggest issues that we've had is the fact that what does it mean to be like adult themed? Like, does it need to have an adult only rating too, or are you going to start targeting mature rating game? Anything that has said explicitly nudity into the game? Because let's be honest, they
I'm sure that's
probably
what they. I'm sure that's their definition. Just anything with like nudity and
yeah.
any of those kind of themes, you know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the problem with that too is that now you start targeting a lot of games too. Because remember, like the whole thing too. Whenever like I'll say Mass Effect was on the news headline too, because it featured having sex with aliens.
Uh-huh.
So that was like a whole thing too. So with that definition of what they're trying to do too, that would mean Mass Effect would have to be delisted from Steam because of it showed like sexual material versus the
Mhm.
fact that like the point of it was that it was a part of a character development story. Like in this case, like mostly romance at all too. And it's not like kids are gonna go in there play it all the time too. It has a mature rating. Albeit, I do think that we have an issue with the way how a lot of times ratings doesn't really mean shit to customers.
It
But
doesn't. There's a very simple way around it, and it's just putting in a fake age.
yeah, yeah, it pretty much is that too. But obviously, too, if you're a parent and you see this, you should definitely not try to buy this game for your kids. I'll say that for the most
I'm,
part because that would be the only
look,
other reason why they
mm,
had this problem.
I mean, kids nowadays, just like in our time,
Yeah.
we were a little smart, you know. We were able to get past all that.
Oh yeah, no
We were
problem.
able to get rated M games easily. That's
Oh
nothing,
yeah.
bro.
Oh yeah, no, that's a yeah. If anything, people will still find a way too. A horny 15-year-old will find a way to play those very adult-themed games, whether you block it or not. They will find a way.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So the real thing that comes about this here from all of this shit is that Collective Shout effectively kind of just email spam these payment processors to do some action too. Because I'll be honest, I don't think a lot of people are that necessarily upset about payment processors, but at the same time, they are upset that they let, in this case, another like I, the word is coming out from my ass right now. I don't know how to call these, but these activist groups. There we go. These activist groups that have clearly in this case have a moral agenda of why they're doing this. Albeit I don't even think it's based on morals either, because they are purposely trying to misrepresent all the things that like video games have to offer too. Because with their logic that because of GTA was that too, that means Cyberpunk 2077 will also be subjected to, they should also be delisted as well. And hell, if that was the case too, and they say you should not pay these processors because they do this, now you're going to tell these payment processors to say, hey, try to also not fund any purchases for the game GTA 6, you know, the mostly sought after item. You're going to tell these payment processors to not process transaction for GTA 6, where in this case, the Rockstar has stated too at a generous $2 billion in sales within the first month. You're telling payment processors that they should not process that. Obviously, none of this actually makes logical sense too, and it does feel like a lot of ways too, Visa and MasterCard do have to capitulate with them because A, they do business in Australia, so they do have to follow some procedures and laws over there too, albeit Australia's censorship laws are a little bit backwards in my opinion, but that's just me.
But that's okay. That's not our country. We don't care about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that they were able to persuade payment processors to tell these like game store platforms to delist some games. I think, well, that is a problem. I think there is some merit to it.
Right.
They didn't block it for everybody else in the world, right? Did they?
They did.
Because I still see plenty of them in the game store. I mean, they're not. They're definitely not all gone.
I double checked the list too. They did remove the games that were listed. It's just the fact that there's so much porn. Like the joke
system. A lot of them on.
Yeah. So, like I said too, I did.
If that's the case, then why don't they? I mean, that's great enough. So why don't they block the new ones coming in then?
Well, like I said too, I have a hot take where all of this is happening right now too, right? So going back to this as well, I do think that yes, there is like a problem with the way how like a payment processor is effectively capitulating to these activist groups because they find something offensive and they're that much afraid of like bad PR. What you ended up doing, what these payment processors end up doing is that like, it's not like I'll say that they 100% control the market. Victor, you have like an opinion that's based around that.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't at all. I mean, like the fact that their attempt to control the market is not going to work out in the end. Because the more they try to control it, and the more it goes one of two ways. Either they lose a lot of businesses, right? They lose a lot of business because then they're like blocking and censoring a ton of games.
Yeah.
Like you said, GTA 6 is $2 billion. Assume that they take like 1 to 3% in credit card fees.
Yeah, that's
a lot of money.
So much money. But yeah, so
they're gonna lose a lot of business. And with a company whose business model relies on charging other people money for spending money, I think they don't want that. They wouldn't want that, right? Because that's literally their entire business.
Yeah.
It's going to be up to a point where these payment processors are not going to do that anymore, unless it is actually illegal.
Yeah. Yeah, because
the second outcome of this is that it does actually get bad to that point, to where other payment processors step up, maybe even potentially fintechs, such as like PayPal and whatever.
Yeah.
Or Discover. Discover is another big one that nobody talks about, but if all these game platforms and retail stores switch over to Discover, then Visa and MasterCard really
are now just no longer do business with them too. Now they in this case they lock themselves out of like another source of revenue. Yeah. So that's the goal to say. Hopefully that this does reach people as well too. Is that like if anything, here's the thing: you do have power over to what these payment processors, but it's actually a lot more fragile than you think as well.
It is absolutely. Like I said, their entire business model is just making money off of other people spending money.
Yeah.
So if people stop spending money, they're not making money, and that's no good to them.
Yeah. And also, it really doesn't make that much sense anyways, too, because there are other ways you can kind of get around with, like, actually being able to, like, pay for stuff without using Visa and MasterCard directly to pay for these services. Just by, buying, in this case, a Steam gift cards in, like, any retail stores. That's literally
Yeah.
another way you could get around that shit. But I do
Mhm.
think so. The thing really is that like the people in this case, they are in this case seeing that like collective shout them as like a collective group were able to send enough emails to them to say that they were quote unquote worried about it. Although this is also the same type of activist group that have defended the movie Cuties. So
Ew.
I don't want to hear any opinion from those group two that they are doing this for moral reasons. You are in this case defending effectively sexualization of minors in that documentary series where it was supposed to be like painting a picture about child exploitation. But it ended up doing so terrible in trying to convey that message that it was just awful. I don't recommend people watching it too, but if you're just morbidly curious, you're more than welcome to. I wouldn't go that far for that, but you know, this is the type of group too. So if that's the group that we're fighting with too, okay, shit. If they're gonna do this, we're also gonna do the same thing too. So a lot of the gamers have rallied together and they have been nonstop spamming messages and emails and phone calls to both Misa and MasterCard headquarters. And oh my god, things are fucking breaking down over the company side. Like, here's the thing, I genuinely do feel sorry about like a lot of the customer service like front people because they're mostly just doing their job of like, you know, help you if you ever get like the payment was falsified or there's some fraudulent charges that were done, right? Those are mostly what they would be capable of doing. And then you have like a fuck ton of other sweaty gamers that are calling in about, hey, why did you block this? Like, I don't fucking know, sir. Please go away. And then the next call after that, and now your email inbox is now filled with all this shit. And now even like some of the CEOs and also some of like the PR team are doing their best for damage control. MasterCard revealing that they said that they have not actually enforced like any type of censorship whatsoever, even though Steam has in this case listed in this case the payment processors that we work with were Visa, MasterCard, and whatnot, and these payment processors have told us to comply with their policies, whether it may follow or whether or not it does offend their policies or not, that we have to abide by those. Now, my hot take about this shit is that I think Steam did this on purpose. Or Valve did this on purpose. For one or two reasons.
Why so?
One, we can all agree too that shovelware porn games is in this case a detriment to the product's quality, right?
Yes.
And at the same time, Microsoft has stated too on their next consoles and platforms that they're about to be releasing too, you're not going to just be interfacing the Microsoft and Xbox Game Store. You're going to have access to the Epic and the Steam Game Store on your Xbox console. Now, it would be very bad on Steam's image-wise if the first thing when any person on a console opens up these platforms that it's just going to be a bunch of porn games at the very front, right? That will look pretty bad, albeit you can definitely just turn on the censorship and whatnot. But a lot of people would care less and they'll turn it off. But in doing that, they'll probably start complaining about it, and some people just say just turn the censorship on. That's besides the point. I do think that Valve truly does want to actually get rid of some of these things too, because shovelware does reduce the quality of games. So what ends up happening is that they've tried their best how to go about it without looking bad about it. And next thing you know, Visa and MasterCard have told them to like, hey, can you do all this type of things too? Now, a couple of things here. They would already work with them to try to remove all these games in the first place. No one is going to argue about that. But I think also they do think that what Valve is or what these payment processors are doing is definitely overreach. And in a lot of ways, what they could do is post that ruling so that whenever the player bases see that, they know that at least Steam was mostly just following the compliance and orders of these companies too. They're not at all like 75% fault in this. If anything, they're like 50 or 40% at fault. But it happens to be very convenient that a lot of players are not attacking Valve and instead just the companies above them. So in a lot of ways, they get to remove all of the bloatware games that are on the platform. Their player bases aren't mad at them, and your payment processes, the ones that are actively told you to do this, are now being attacked by the players that you have conveniently redirected their ire to.
I see it as a win. They're able to remove a lot of the terrible games off of the store.
Yeah, without actively like being like the bad people involved, because they're the ones that had to like remove the games at the very end, right?
Yeah.
So that's at
Either
least
way,
my hot take about
I
it.
don't see it over. I don't see. Here's my hot take. I don't see it as overreaching.
Mhm.
I see it as a way for Steam to get rid of the shit that we never wanted to see to begin with.
Like at least me and you can at least agree to that part, right?
Yeah.
So whether or not we can classify this as overreach or not too, it is affecting a lot of players because some of them do genuinely worry about, in this case, the way how the internet is kind of shaping itself to be. And you know
Of
what?
course. But here's the thing.
Mhm.
Here's the thing. Any overreach can definitely be stopped by the people coming together and like what they did here, just spam call and email these payment processors and telling them to stop.
Yeah. Like
As you
you
can
don't
tell,
have the authority.
these companies are not as powerful as you think.
Yes.
They cannot stop a collective.
Yeah, and
So I don't think they will ever overreach, and even if they do, they would revert back immediately.
right. And it's pretty much like that's what we see so far here too. Because if the collective shall, if they could like spam emails to these payment processors to get what they want done too, we could do the same thing too, no?
Of course, and plus, our numbers are as much bigger than
The
whatever that
col-
little Karen group is.
yeah. So pretty much like right now we're seeing like the at least the climactic point of effectively right now there's just damage control for MasterCard and Visa. And a lot of it, I don't know if it's unrelated to, I just checked it too. A lot of their stocks just pretty much tanked. Although I don't know if it's related to this or not, but it is what it is, and I
Brian's
kind of find it
definition
as a
of tank.
coincidence.
Brian's definition of tanked is 1 or 2%. So
Yeah. Hey, I'm just
they
saying.
didn't tank. It's just normal market movement.
Yeah, normal market stuff too. But it was still funny enough that I've read that as a post that somebody has said that their stocks aren't tanking. I'm like, cool.
Of course, people like to think they know what they're talking about.
Of course, yeah. I just wanted to just regurgitate or repeat what I saw too in trying to get ready for this topic. I don't think it's going to change much about their practice too. Obviously, that just means to either a couple things here too. Either they do back off from this and they don't do this shit again, or they're just going to have to wait out the internet outrage like they usually do. However, it is starting to be apparent too that I don't think they will be able to maintain their hold that much longer because itch.io is currently trying to re-index a lot of things that they have in this case unfairly removed here. Only because
And that's
right
fine.
now,
Look, so now that is no longer an issue, everybody's going to revert to relisting everything.
yeah,
It's
because
no
here's the
longer.
thing that
This was never an issue to begin with. This was just Visa listening to a bunch of Karens.
and it's their fault, and the result is that itch.io is also working on trying to find a different payment processing company to do like business with instead of like effectively this. So everything did work out the way you say it is too. And here's the thing too: Japan actually had to deal with this shit too. Whenever it was, yeah, Visa and Mastercard were denying, in this case, purchases being made on a anime website because on their content they didn't like the fact that they had like anime figures that were depicting minors, even though for the most part, who am I to really judge like another country's culture, right?
Yeah.
I won't say that I necessarily agree with it too, but I wouldn't necessarily like put my morals thinking that mines are superior than a Japanese person, right? I wouldn't enforce that type of thing onto them, but they did anyways, and it caused a lot of like Japanese anime websites to actively have to shut down because they could not process any transactions.
Mm-hmm.
And it got involved with the Japanese government, where effectively it's, hey, if you're gonna be doing this shit too, and if you're not gonna process these transactions, get the fuck out of our country. Like, simple as that too. If you're not going to process these payments, get out of the country.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very much like, it does go to show too that, like, yes, in some ways too, payment processors do seem to have a lot of power, but that power is very fragile, like very much so.
It's what's the best way of saying this? It's like an imaginative power.
Yeah.
They think they have power until they don't.
Hmm. So pretty much, does that kind of like help you put into scenario too that, like, right now, like with payment processors, if they have the authority to do like censorship on their behalf, on like, I guess on the government's behalf, even though it's not explicitly illegal in a lot of ways too, they deem so. Which in a lot of ways, a lot of people don't like that. We don't want companies to dictate legality for us.
Well, they don't dictate legality because they just basically follow the rules of the government.
Yeah. Well, what I was getting at is they wanted to enforce their own type of structure of law without being, in this case, associated with the government law, in like in a weird roundabout way, right? A lot of people were not down for
Every
that.
company will have the. It's not that they are enforcing their own laws. It is each company having their own policies
Yeah.
for doing business.
Mm-hmm. And that's perfectly fine. It just so happens that if your policy makes it so that it makes it hard for anyone to do business with you, then it is what it is, right?
Well, that's their fault.
Yeah. So, needless to say, I think that's pretty much the resulting case of that too, and I think that is as much as I could at least gather from a lot of this too. itch.io is kind of recovering right now too, with Valve effectively taking the most easiest PR win I've ever seen. Steam does absolutely nothing. Actually, take that back. They did do something, but at the very end of the day, nothing happened to them.
Mm-hmm. As always.
So, Gabe Newell, you don't even run the company, and he's just chilling in his yacht and still winning. I am so fucking like, not angry, but just surprised on how much Steam doesn't really have to do anything, and they still win. All game publishers have given up their own platforms, of their own launchers, to go onto Steam again.
Mm-hmm.
So, man,
Steam is superior. I'll give them that.
Yeah. So, take that what you will. We'll see that in this case, everything is starting to like correct itself again too, from what it looks like. Albeit there are still a lot of companies that want to still push back, but I don't think they're going to be able to win this. I'm gonna be honest. And it's not like in this case, like, yeah, the people have spoken and therefore we will not do this. I don't think they would have been able to enforce any policy that they were going to do anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Especially right now with like what you said too, all of the financial tech like PayPal and Discover are pretty much, if Visa and MasterCard pull out, they're gonna step up. And it's not like people use PayPal to purchase a lot of their shit anyways. I use my PayPal to purchase shit on Steam. So there's that, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think if anything, I'm gonna conclude at least this part of it, and we'll go ahead and try my best to transition to the next part of this too. And this one might be a little bit lighthearted here, right? Okay.
There's something fun after all these stupid ass news.
Yeah. Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 has dropped, and it looks actually amazing. At least for the most part, visually and based on what we saw gameplay wise. Battlefield 6 looks like a return to norm, where what Victor has dubbed it, Battlefield 6 looks like now Battlefield 4.1 with better graphics.
Not even better graphics. It looks the same. I'm gonna be completely honest.
I think the graphics did look better here in Battlefield 6. I've noticed some differences here and there.
There's definitely the same amount of jank that they used to have in the old Battlefield games.
Yeah. Like, if anything, gameplay-wise, it does feel like it's going back, but at least for me visually, it looks like it's a better version of Battlefield 4. So, for those that are Battlefield fans, we are definitely going to be eating good, because next weekend is going to be the 2-day beta testing that they'll do, and the weekend after that, it'll be a 4-day beta testing phase. So, you might catch us playing on there too, and I'll probably be molding because how terrible first-person shooter games I am, and why do I still keep playing them? But that is, in this case, one of like the better news when it comes out to the whole Battlefield genre. So that is already doing well too. I feel like there was something else I was missing here, and I know it's said it to you if you can help me remember this. And I know you're terrible with memories too. Victor?
Yes.
Oh, there you are. I thought I disconnected for a second there. God damn it. Did you know, was there anything else that happened to? I know I said it to you so in hopes that you would also remember for me, because there was a lot that happened. And I completely forgot at this point now too.
Well, I just mainly remember. You talking about the topics let's talk about next?
Yes.
I mean, the only thing left would be K-pop Demon Hunters.
The K-pop Demon Hunters. There was another fucking thing I remember I was trying to mention. Oh well, doesn't matter right now too. And also for those that are tuned in as well, Evo is currently going on. Watching that at the side at the moment too. So my attention is not really split too, as it's mostly muted, and I'm just watching just people going through the pools right now. So there we go. That's the current other events too. As always, Evo is always still the best esports event here. I'm not going to try to say it's the best esport, but the best esport event. So I will give them that. And I still, in this case, love my time going there. So regardless whatsoever, I think we can conclude at least this part of the game news too. And if there is something that I did forget to mention too, let's be honest too, I'll probably talk about it again in another podcast topic. Yeah, so if I ever do forget something, oh well, right? Now, we get to K-pop Demon Hunters. Holy fuck, this movie has the people in a chokehold right now. I mean...
Yeah, I agree.
So, for those that want to have like my terrible synopsis of what K-pop Demon Hunters is, it is a Sony-made animation project that features, in this case, the story of 3 K-pop singers that are demon hunters, and they power the world by using their voice to protect a barrier or veil separating the human world with the spirit or demon realm. Every now and then the demons do come out and pierce through the veil to try to weaken it, but the hunters is what they are called. The 3 idol group girls will, in this case, slay demons, with also the fact that their power comes from singing. And in one regard to, and I guess at this point, do we want to go for the full spoiler?
I mean, I guess we can just talk about the premise of the movie.
Okay.
And the music.
So, I think if anything, that's mostly my hook with the synopsis. I would recommend it too, because it's a movie that has like a musical component to it that honestly rivals that of older Disney titles, where the last great one would have been Moana. So, if that says anything to you, I actually think this is probably better than like the more recent Disney project, which honestly isn't saying much, but it's also really fucking good because it's also animated by the same people that did Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. So, take that what you will. Now, when we get into the musical part, holy fucking shit, the music.
Yes, the music's wonderful.
I would even say too that like it's not like the music. Okay, no, I take that back. The music is really good here too. The story itself is okay and fine for the most part, but I think what does carry it too is the music portion of it. Just because a lot of the music production itself too was written, I believe, by an actual K-pop songwriter and helped produced by a lot of people that worked in the K-pop industry. So, for us, the Hot or Trash podcast, for the hot take here, as well as in this case, what we think is the best song here too, and this worst song. I want to put Soda Pop as the worst song, but it's also the most catchiest fucking song. God damn it.
Hey man, Soda Pop, not a bad song, bro.
It is not a bad song. Objectively, all the songs are good. There's no actual bad songs here. That even if I put it in a tier list, it would be unfair to actually put it in a list, as all of them are all good. It's just a matter of which songs do I prefer over the other. Where in this one, I actually prefer the song Free in this one, where it features the lead singer of Huntrix, which is the girl group, idol group here, and also a boy band group called Saja Boys, who are in this case demons in disguise as K-pop boys. Now, if what I'm describing to you sounds a bit odd and weird, it mostly is, but I think I can suspend disbelief here too, because when I watched this movie, it felt like I'm watching a K-drama in a lot of shots.
Surprising.
Yeah, so unsurprising to majority of the whole theme of this show or movie here. But my favorite song was with Free, where it features both the lead singer of both groups here, kind of like harmonizing off of each other, kind of harping back to like Korean ballad music of like couples and whatnot singing, which in my honest opinion, when it came to like Korean songs, those were my favorite too. And a lot of the songs too, I think we remember or we kind of like vibe with them most strongly because it reminds us of already older K-pop songs or newer K-pop songs that had come out. I mean, all of which too, Huntrix itself is at this point it's being referencing to like groups like Blackpink or ITZY, for example. At least that's how I kind of view them. Saja Boys themselves are, let's be honest too, they are in this case a direct reference copy to BTS.
Yeah, it feels like it.
So, what I can at least understand too, Michael, if you're also listening in and trying to enjoy me kind of monologuing as well. But the best way to kind of describe it as well too is that like the movie itself is not only has this kind of premise too, a lot of the themes that they talk about too actually kind of put into light and questioning that of like what we think is part of K-pop culture that is bad or good regardless. Because Huntrix in a lot of ways too, this is my meta movie analysis here. Huntrix kind of represents the whole push that a lot of Korean pop groups that they're trying to break away from the form of like the way how K-pop groups are kind of mostly viewed as like the cutesy girl type too, which that was like relevant in a lot of ways. And we could kind of see this as a transformation from Twice, how they started up to where they are now.
Yeah.
So this is something that like it's a very nice subtle way to point light to it, and it's even more apparently so with like the boy group Saja Boys, who I describe to them as they are in this case the most toxic but also the perfect boy band group that Korean pop industry wants out of them.
Yeah.
Like the Saja Boys is everything that's wrong with the K-pop industry in what they view as this is the image of K-pop groups. Where you have in this case Abby, which in the Saja Boys there he's the big muscle one or two, where it's in this case the sexualization of a lot of these like guys too from like their K-pop fans. Another character in there that I like to point out is I think is Baby Saja, who is depicted to have a baby face but it has like a deep voice, where they have like it's also pointing jabs at K-pop fans that love to infantilize a lot of like their K-pop boy groups. So, needless to say, too, I love that fact too that it's effectively it is everything that's wrong with it too, and there are people that are falling for it, and it's like this is sort of less like a perfect levels of irony here, and they are doing it on purpose because they are actually demons in disguise. Because there's no other way that they could look like this as real people.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how I perceive it as. But for you, Victor, what was the couple of moments or things that you liked in that movie?
Solid question.
I mean, to be fair though, it was more or less like it was mostly a fun watch, wasn't it?
It was just a fun little action movie with music in it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Let me be 100% honest. The story is not that good, but
as of course, yes.
The just the music was nice to listen to, and the action's a little enjoyable. That's really it.
Yeah. So to say like everything else too, we're not here saying to the like, oh, this is like the best like written movie. No, if anything, this is probably like the most basic movie anybody could write too. Anybody that's trying to find deeper meaning outside of that too, you're fucking going crazy.
Yeah, they just get so.
Yeah, so that's just my take about this too. The story itself is simple. I just love in this case the way how like they address themes in the movies, right? That was all that I cared about in this entire thing too. Because the story writing at this point, I see this like, okay, this is mostly a kid's film and whatnot, and it tackles like a lot of other things too. And I feel like this is a better movie that shows women empowerment than even what Disney could create. At least in my honest opinion. And it's also coming from, in this case, the actual trend and era that we see in K-pop, where a lot of K-pop groups are, in this case, being more feminist forward. Like they can do, like they can be more than just what the society labels them as. And it's like being more comfortable with yourself, because there were definitely shots too where like a lot of the times too, like they're like this beautiful like K-pop idol groups like Huntrix too. You see them like they do the stuff that most like young adult or teenage girls would do, such as like after like some like maybe like a concert or something, getting ready for most things, what do girls like to do? Carb loading. And if anything too, I'm not even a woman either, but I can empathize with that too, like just straight up like carb loading. And I find that also as an irony too. And I find that also as an irony too. It's like, damn, the only thing unrealistic part about this is that they let their K-pop idols eat.
Yeah, correct.
God damn.
The only unrealistic thing is that they let the K-pop idols do whatever they want.
Yeah, because like yeah, if those that are new to the K-pop stuff too, after watching K-pop Demon Hunters, look up in this case the 1-cup diet. That shit is crazy.
Yeah, just do research on K-pop beauty standards in general, and you'll see that it's awful.
Yeah. It's very much awful, and that's why I kind of like the way how this movie like shows itself being that like it does actually start breaking the mold of, in this case, criticizing K-pop music in general, while at the same time they have probably made like the best sounding music in a lot of like animated movies, because I tend to be kind of picky when it comes to that too, for the most part, right? When it comes to like original made music here too, usually in stuff like that will fall in the lines of Disney, especially their original masterpiece like Cinderella or Beauty and the Beast. A lot of like the original songs that are composed specifically for the movies. But my favorite one was like movies like Tangled. Fuck Frozen. That shit got overly popular for no reason, in my opinion. I still think Tangled is by far the better Disney animation when it also comes to music as well. Fight me on this. Fight me on this. Fuck you. But
I'll toss you to the ground.
But in doing so, right, what I would categorize before watching K-pop Demon Hunters would have been Tangled, Moana, Lilo and Stitch, and then Frozen, and probably, actually no, Frozen probably would be a little bit down, but I can't think of another movie top of my head right now. But with K-pop Demon Hunters, it has already put itself as close to being number one, but it's definitely above at the number 2 spot. Like, holy fucking shit. The music in this is really good, and I don't know much about music enough to start throwing out terms here, right? But whoever was in charge of casting the singers to do these musics in the movies too did a phenomenal job, and they all sound amazing too. I would, in this case too, for anybody that hasn't watched the movie and is still skeptical about it, just listen to the music. Like, Sony has released a bunch of them right now too, so
they released all of them they released all of them that was in the movie, so there you go.
Yeah, so go ahead and listen to those, and honestly speaking, it really doesn't matter too, because the movies have done so popular that Netflix has come out that they are working on 2 sequels and maybe a live action. And it's like, yay, we got 2 things and 1 awful thing. God damn it, Netflix. We'll talk about, in this case, another topic about how I feel about live action, because that's a... Oh man, that requires me to grab another beer bottle in order to talk about that, and I don't want to like deal with that right now. But needless to say too, Michael, have we said right now, does it convince you to watch it at some point? Or at this point you're just kind of letting words just kind of spit all over your face?
I don't know, man. I'm not super interested in watching it.
Well, we can just say that you're just racist. I'm kidding, no. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
That's it. You caught me.
But outside of that too, obviously for the way how it is too, it may turn off on a lot of people, especially with the ways how everything is like about like Korean culture. If some of you are also like not subscribed to it because you also don't agree with K-pop culture, that's perfectly fine. But however I describe it to y'all too, it's actually not a terrible movie, and in a lot of ways too, it does tend to like poke a lot of criticisms to K-pop culture. So with that being said, I would still recommend it, even for those that haven't decided to watch it, or if you don't want to watch it, that's up to you. You still make the decision. I'm just the one that says that I would personally recommend it, right? And straight up too, I do kind of want a sequel as well, because apparently there was like 20 other unpublished songs that were supposed to be part of the movie, because the movie length was originally supposed to be 3 hours until Netflix said to like cut it down to an hour and 30 minutes, which I think it was okay to do. But I do notice too, there were definitely some scenes that I felt like needed to be included, because it did feel like we were missing some stuff, to me at least. But this is coming from someone that watches a lot of movies for funsies and whatnot, and I genuinely do like to analyze a lot of movies. Analyze? What the fuck am I?
Analytical size.
Yeah, shut up. I'm not trying to act fancy on purpose, damn it, alright? I just couldn't say the word correctly at the timely fashion. But I would recommend watching it too. If you could do it, do support. In this case, try to bring the songs to #1 charts. It doesn't really matter. It's already confirmed that they're making more. I would like to see more of this too, because I do think Sony Entertainment is actually like eating a part of like the pie share when it comes to making like animated movies. Like, let's look back on some of the things that they previously worked on. They straight up made the Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse game. Or, not game, Beyond the Spider-Verse movie. Holy fucking shit. Words, please.
Yeah, words are hard, bro. I feel that.
But, in this case too, Michael, besides the movie that I just mentioned here too, do you think right now that you're seeing more the relevance of other animation studios that are taking over the space that once was dominated by Disney?
The relevance?
Sorry, did I mention?
What'd you say?
Sorry. Do you think right now that with the way how Disney is handling themselves right now, that Sony Entertainment is just taking up more of the, at this point, the open market space that Disney has left open? Because, yeah, let's be honest, a lot of these movies are just pretty awful.
Yeah.
At least a lot of the more recent ones. And also, I didn't notice too, they also did Wish Dragon. Holy fucking shit.
Wish Dragon?
Yeah, it's another like Asian American centric movie too. It's actually a really cute watch too. I also recommend it too, because it does talk about like the story of like an Asian American side story that a lot of people don't talk about. It's very corny and cheesy too, but I still like it. But honestly, the best one were the Mitchells versus the Machines. That one was really good. And also, they also did stuff for Hotel Transylvania, so they were the ones that did that.
The Hotel Transylvania.
So, take it what you will too. I do think Sony is becoming a much more bigger player when it comes to the animated movie space, at least here in America. Because, yeah, let's be honest, dude, Disney is currently on fire at the moment. Not in like,
they haven't been doing very well.
Yeah, not in a sense that like, oh, they're doing fire where all their moves are selling. No, a lot of them are just doing awful right now. A lot of them have clearly lost like how to make movies. So, needless to say, I think it is a good time that we do see more
complacency as well.
Yeah. So, we will see where this kind of ends up to. I do hope more in the fact that we get to see more films industry kind of taking over too. Like, for example, too, one of the things that a little bit off topic. When yes, this was supposed to be K-pop Demon Hunters, but now this is turning into me kind of criticizing animated films from here on. What I do see too is that there has been like an increased relevancy for more animated movies coming from like different parts of the country right now. Where, for example, Arcane, that was a French studio that did super well. And then you have stuff like right now most popular movie Nerja. I whichever how you want to pronounce it too. Some Chinese person will probably like correct me on my pronunciation there, but the movie over there has done so well box office wide sale, and even its sequel did very well that at this point we love to see more of like movies coming from like different areas of the country now too. Hell, there was like the whole phase 2 that we had where Bollywood was seeing the rise again too. If you don't know what I'm referencing to, it's still available on Netflix. You should watch Triple R. It is a wacky as hell movie, but it's also a very interesting musical too. So, yeah. At least that's how I do feel about a lot of this too. I think we're seeing the clear trend. Movies and whatnot coming from other countries outside of the US are becoming more popular, and it's scaring a lot of like the established studios for certain.
Well, if they want, and they need to be doing better. Then I don't know why they keep making worse and worse things.
To give like at least credit here, right? Making movies is definitely difficult, right? Especially when you yourself obviously do not know how to fucking make it. Like
Yeah,
a lot of like the talent, like a lot of the talents that used to work in these places are no longer there. It's the same thing with like the philosophical story or the philosophical debate of the ship of Theseus. At what point is Disney still Disney if all of your key animators have left the company, right?
That's fine, but that's why they gotta create a new identity. They can't just stick to the past.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, that's what they're trying to do right now too. They've been trying to make some new stuff, but it's just not working. So they're trying to rely on old stuff, but they can't do that either because damn, we lost all of like our key animators that did work on these. So we're forced to kind of just do live actions, kinda.
Well, that's just still trying to follow with the past stuff.
Yeah, it's
Just trying to recreate like past IPs.
hmm
It's not going to help them because they clearly don't understand what the movie really is about.
Yeah, and we kind of see that happening with like the Star Wars stuff a little bit too, which I'm a little bit saddened about, kind of a bit, but it is what it is, right? And I do think,
guess.
well, I only say that right now because this would also be like its own separate topic that I could go into. So, kind of keeping this short and simple too. I rate, in this case, the Hot or Trash rates the K-pop Demon Hunters. I'll say a solid 9 out of 10. Actually, 8 out of 10 because of story reasons.
Yeah, story's pretty
Meh. Like we've seen better stories that come from like the Korean like culture, right? So there's that.
Well, let's be honest. Korean story writing, the actually good ones are far and few.
Yeah.
But regardless, they're still enjoyable to watch.
Yeah. They're still more so enjoyable. And then, speaking of which, too, for those that have watched K-pop Demon Hunters, if you want to watch a K-drama because you're now inspired by what we said too, I would recommend watching Business Proposal. Just because actually one of the voice actors, Jinu's voice actor in K-pop Demon Hunters is also the actor that plays in Business Proposal in the main male lead role. So,
and the main antagonist and the main villain of K-pop Demon Hunters is the frontman at Squid Game.
yeah. So, hey. So, hopefully the reviews enough that we do is justifies enough that yeah, this is going to be a great movie. Recommend everybody go ahead and keep watching it too. At this point, I don't think I need to say it anymore. The movie is already coming to like a feverish like popularity that is at this point it's starting to become annoying too, with like so many fan edits, and a lot of them are now just making fan fiction now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there will always be fans like that.
yeah. So that, if anything, I could say at this point, what I say at this point too is meaningless. It's already out there. We're already a little bit late to the party when it comes to this. I just want to throw out my 10 cent, right?
No.
Oh, fuck you.
Tencent.
Shut up. That's another separate company that has its own issues, but more so too. I will say in the upcoming weeks too, I won't guarantee that we'll have a podcast every other weekend or Saturday too, because there's a lot of things going on in my personal life right now. Just because update for, in this case, if I want to feed into parasocialism for the people that want to know my life, I got into a car accident and I'm kind of working through stuff on where to get in my next car. So there's that. But outside of that too, anybody else here, if anything really, I'm gonna go ahead and end the podcast at this note here too. If y'all want to have any special evenings or special messages you want to say to our crowd here, or the lack
Special
of,
evenings.
or the lack of a crowd
I
that
don't
we
got
have.
anything.
Well, it's okay, because regardless whatsoever, I thank you all for whoever tuned in tonight to listen to us ramble on. But anyways, all, thank you for coming in tonight. Anyways, good night, everybody. Yeah, the man, look at here. Michael didn't even want to hear me talk this entire time.
For real.
Huh?